Don't be messing with my First Amendment. Don't go messing with the amendment and everything that it offers to us as a society. It is the bedrock of democracy on which we stand, on which our civilization rises from. It's my belief that the First Amendment is perhaps the most important on the Bill of Rights. Granted that we have the Second Amendment in order to protect the First, but having been in a variety of countries where people are unwilling to dare to criticize the rulers or even the ruling class, whether that's China, whether that's Syria, or even places like Thailand, where if you criticize the king, you get 20 years in jail. I'm incredibly grateful for the constitutional protections that our founders created for us. These are the men. These are truly the giants on whose shoulders we stand today. If you want to protest for an organization I might disagree with, like Black Lives Matter, which has stated that they desire to disrupt the nuclear family and are also known Marxists, then it's your right to do so. It's your right to exercise your First Amendment freedoms. I will support your right to demonstrate 30,000 people at a time, all closed in together, yelling, spitting, even during a coronavirus epidemic, because I recognize the important value that the First Amendment offers us. And I do not want to see that suspended for any reason. In fact, the good mayor of Los Angeles, Garcetti, agrees, and with vigor. He actually joined in to the protests. Note, I want to make one thing clear. I only support your right to peaceably assemble. If you riot, if you loot, if you graffiti, if you infringe on somebody else's rights, you are no longer peaceful. So when members of your assembly try, for example, to burn down the federal courthouse in Portland or shine blinding, literally blinding, laser beams into the eyes of federal officers, and the group then protects them, these offenders in any way, you're no longer exercising your First Amendment rights, but rather you're rioting. Nevertheless, no matter how brilliant your cause or how stupid, the First Amendment does grant you your right to demonstrate, and I will support you in doing so. But for Mayor Garcetti to now announce that if you are caught holding a get-together, a party in your own private residence, that he will cut off your water and your power is a draconian measure taken from an authoritarian playbook. The left of our country is punching holes in the First Amendment with as much regularity as they can. This sacred parchment is being used as target practice by leftists who swear they will protect your right to speak so long as you agree with everything that they believe. Go contraire to the thought police and prepare to be canceled. The First Amendment is specifically there to protect speech that others might find disagreeable. It is via the First Amendment that we are able to settle our differences peacefully rather than with violence. Yet, mayors in our largest cities are protecting one form of free speech over another. Preferential treatment under the law, something that was once used during the segregationist era, during Jim Crow times, has been intentionally breathed back into life. But hey, I used to live in LA. I'm a solutions-oriented guy. I have a little workaround for you. You have a party, you have a little get-together, you're dancing, you're sipping wine to music. Just make sure to have a Black Lives Matter poster hanging in the background, and when Garcetti sends the cops in after you, just point to it and say you're holding a protest. There's absolutely no excuse for their actions. Whenever you take an oath for public office, you are asked to promise to uphold and to protect the Constitution of the United States. These men are not so stupid not to know what they're doing, but they don't care. These are not honorable people. My opinion, it's pure evil. Do you want to make the excuse that the First Amendment should be cast aside because of some unknown health emergency? The Constitution is not suspended because you have some idiotic judgment. Bill DeBlasio in New York did not even go to the city permitting office to be able to paint Black Lives Matter in front of Trump Tower. He skipped that process entirely. It was money that was stolen from New York taxpayers who paid for his political message, for a Marxist organization, due to the corrupt mayor desiring to spread his own personal ideology. To suspend the First Amendment, the right to worship for religious groups, but physically join in protests for another, that's anti-American. That's anti-constitutional. In New Jersey, they are arresting gym owners who just want to keep their gym open for the public, to be able to serve them, to give people an outlet, a place to work out, a way to get out their aggressions from the COVID lockdown. Meanwhile, at the same time, you are releasing convicted felons from penitentiaries across the nation. In California, Gavin Newsom is commuting the sentence of known murderers. And then you are throwing the gym owners in jail for contradicting you, for going against your unconstitutional edicts? How does this make any sense? What world are we living in? The problem is, for the left, there doesn't have to be logic. There doesn't have to be sense involved. The only thing that truly matters to them, power. Intentionally trying to burn down federal courthouses, the media will call them protests rather than riots. The New York Times and Washington Post reporting on shakedown of Louisville businesses, mafia-like tactics by Black Lives Matter, that's not important enough to make their papers. But false framing of something that Trump says, definitely that leads the news. Anything to try to regain power. And when they do, mark my words, they'll do all they can to bring forth a 1984 dystopian future into being. You can already check that on Twitter, they're arguing that 2 + 2 = 5. That's directly out of George Orwell's 1984, which the left seems to be using as their playbook. Change history so that we can deny something ever existed? What do you think the 1619 Project is? Full of lies and falsehoods. Question for you guys out there. Would anyone be surprised if China had bribed the committee to issue a Pulitzer to that essay in an effort to sow discord within American borders, giving perceived value to utter lies and hatred of the greatest country of the world? Okay, rather than just rant about this stuff, let's try to come up with a solution. Let's be solution-oriented. Number one, we can have peaceful protests for our civil rights to demonstrate the fact that we aren't going to take this incursion into them lying down. But of course, because we're not using violence as a coercion tactic like the left does, and even if we did, it's not like the mainstream media would run cover for us. The only thing that we can really do is vote come November and vote these evildoers out of office entirely. They aren't even clowns because they know what they are doing. I don't think that Garcetti is technically a stupid man. I don't think that's the case. These violations of our First Amendment are egregious and intentional, and these men must lose their positions of power. Vote red across the board, and I say that as someone who's voted red one time in his life for Arnold Schwarzenegger in California. I don't understand how anybody could possibly not see the hypocrisy of favoring one form of speech over another and be okay with it. If you do, then you are succumbing to ideology. And if that's the case, and you've made it this far in the video, snap out of it and really see reality for what it is. There's no logical or even moral justification for the behavior of Garcetti, of the left throughout our country. Vote come November and make sure that it's red across the board. And it'll be the first time that I'm taking that action. And I hope that those disaffected true liberals out there, like myself, who believe in individual liberty, will join me in doing so. So in order to propagate this message, make sure to share this video. Give it a thumbs up on YouTube, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell. Peace and blessings to everybody out there. I hope you have a fantastic day, and let's do what we can to make our voice heard so that they know that we're not going to take this sitting down. Peace out, everybody.